How are you
Alright.
guys?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, can everybody hear Fox? I hope I didn't scuff. Interrogator, get the fox words. You love it. Thank you, thank you. This is Fox's very first time doing this stuff live, so he's excited. I'm nervous. Oh my god, my head left my body. I messed it up again. Hold up. You know what? I'll just stand. Oh, nope. There we go. There we go. Yeah, got a curse thing. Also, if you're talking now, we cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you now, but whenever if you was talking earlier, I couldn't hear you.
You can hear me now though, right?
Yep, I can now.
All right. Okay. Let me just I think my mic threshold is a little too high. I'm gonna turn that down just a wee bit. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So, welcome to the whatever this is. It's the coffee place.
It's a
So
coffee bar.
So this is the first episode of what I'm calling the Foxhole. So welcome. Guest today is Smitten Kitten. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing very well.
All right. So let's just jump right into it. So, in terms of not just like VTubing, but in streaming in general, how long have you been a Twitch streamer?
Oh God, let's see. So I think whenever I first started, like actually streaming, was back whenever COVID happened. I believe, like I think that was in 2022, maybe, or 2021, whenever first
Okay.
COVID first like happened, maybe. Nick Q&A time.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, COVID. I remember COVID being early 2019 to about around 2024, 2023, somewhere around there. So around that time period. So you were a COVID streamer, because
Yes.
that's when you started, right?
Yep.
Uh, not too far long ago. So, do you remember what the first game you streamed was?
I'm pretty sure my very first game was Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six Siege. Okay. What was it about Rainbow Six Siege that you wanted to stream that one first, or was it just what you were playing at the time?
Well, at that current time, it was something that I enjoyed playing with Alan and a couple of other friends, and then we was like, you know what? Let's stream it, and then it just went from there. And what Alan said,
Okay.
if
Who
not
was
that, maybe Dead by Daylight.
okay? Who was the one that kind of influenced you to start streaming, or was it something that you just decided to do yourself?
I'm pretty sure it was just something that I decided to do myself because it was like a popular thing back
Oh,
then for everybody to like, oh hey, let's just stream. So I was like, all right, let's hop on it.
okay. So about this one, let's go back in time. Let's go back in time to younger kitten. What do you think is your first gaming memory? And what would you say is the most prominent gaming memory that you have? First and most prominent.
My most prominent one is whenever I thought Helen was a lady in Onigiri. That's my main one that I always go back to.
You want to tell a story?
The story, all right. So whatever, I don't really remember how old I was, but whenever I got an Xbox, I discovered Onigiri, right? So it was like an anime type game. that you could play with friends and do dungeons and had cute little outfits and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna download this and play it and see what happens. Well, so it happened at the time, me and Dakota was playing it, and we were in like this little area. I can't remember what it was called. Alan probably remembers because he still plays it from time to time on his computer. But he was in that little area asking people if they needed help, and so it happened me and Dakota was like, yeah, we need help. And so we didn't really speak, like, communicate with voice or anything. So it was mainly messages or through the game. And I thought Alan was a girl. Like, I swore up and down. I was like, bro, I'm going to have a girl best friend. It's going to be, lovely, all this and that. Well, that was whenever I got brave and I invited Alan to a voice chat on the Xbox and discovered he was a
And you got
male.
debated.
Yep, I got debated.
You got absolutely debated. It's like, I'm gonna have a girl best friend. I'm gonna have a bestie. Oh my god. Hey, what's up? I feel robbed.
Yep. But
Okay,
in the
so
end,
go ahead.
it worked out. In the end, it worked out. I didn't get a girl best friend, but I did get
Years
a
later, right?
very true and lovely friend.
That is definitely true. Uh, so if you're going down as like if someone came up to you on the street and said, "Hey, kitten, uh,
Um,
top 3 games of all time." What? Where would that? What would that list look like?
Top
Top
three
3.
games. So let's see. That would be Dead by Daylight for sure. And then Rainbow Six, obviously, because that was my main go-to game. And then let's see, what else do I usually play? Right now, I actually like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even if it is buggy and glitched and a lot of cheaters on it. So those are my top three.
Would you put yourself into like the box of more of like the horror game streamer in a sense? Because you have Dead by Daylight on there, you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre on there. Would that be an accurate statement,
Yes, that
or just
would
kind of
be
somewhat?
that would be kind of a somewhat statement because I like playing the horror games with friends because I am too scared to play them by myself.
I remember
Rainbow can
when we
also be
got
a
you to
horror
play. What was
game.
that? What was that game called? Super Jump Scare Mansion or something like that. That was fun.
Spookies. What was it? Alan knows what it is. He's like, you still need to play that game. It's the what was it,
I
Alan?
do.
The Spookies Jump Scare Mansion. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for.
That was a fun experience. Yes, I definitely
I
Mm-hmm.
love you,
enjoyed
bitch.
Oh my god.
your
I ain't gonna never stop loving you,
playthrough of that.
bitch.
Yes. I love you too, mate.
so, so let's talk about the elephant in the room here, or rather, the forehead in the room. What's the deal with that? How did that start?
So that all
Oh,
started whenever Dakota was just in the stream one day and he's just like, bro, you got a big forehead. And then for some reason it has just stuck. I don't understand why or he ever thought of that, but it just he just did. He just bullies me.
Community. It is kind of our job to bully you.
This is true.
And then
This is very true.
going so far as to play tic tac toe on your forehead. That was fun. We ended up having like a tic tac toe tournament on your forehead, which I won, by the way. Oh, humble brag. Uh, so let's go into streaming. Let's go into your streaming career so far. So, how did you hear about VTubing in general? And what was it about the this medium that kind of drew your attention?
Well, so one day, let's just say Dakota was watching a YouTube video of Iron Mouse. All right. She basically was my very first VTuber that I have been introduced to. And so I seen that and I thought it was pretty cool and I wanted to give it a try as well.
Okay. Uh, so you've been a VTuber your entire streaming career, correct?
Yes.
So VTubing is a very different medium than what VTubers call flesh tubers, just regular face cam streamers.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of differences between doing it via a normal webcam or doing it behind a VTuber model. What do you like about the medium, and what are the differences and similarities between the two?
So you're basically asking me what do I like about being a VTuber compared to a Flesh person, like the
Yes.
virtual camera? Okay. So I like the fact of VTubing because it can protect my identity. Even though I have showed you guys what I look like, I kind of put that out there. But it kind of keeps you safe in a sense, like if you're afraid of being doxxed or somebody like, being a little weird and little need to chill sections. But I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that whatever you are comfortable with, I would say go for it. Like if you want to be a flesh tuber, do it. If you want to be a VTuber, do it. It's all up to you at the end.
I actually watched a video not too long ago where this point was actually made up, and I wanted to kind of add this into this little section here. Uh, Specifically with female streamers. A lot of female streamers, before they go in front of a face cam, they'll do their hair, they'll do their makeup, stuff like that. The point was uh, VTubers don't need to do that because have their model and it's already perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that that's benefit to having a VTuber model where you don't have to put in that effort into your physical appearance to be on camera?
Well, I mean, it does like help a little bit, because you're not having to wake up, get dressed. I mean, you can just sit here in your underwear if you wanted to, and nobody would know as long as you don't do it with a webcam because you will get exposed. It happens way too much. But other than that, I mean, it does benefit it because like you're not having to sit here go like an hour to 2 hours depending on how long you want to sit there in front of your mirror doing your makeup and your hair. Because like bam, you already got a full face of makeup, why do you want to sit there for like 2 hours or so?
Definitely, it's. I asked because I was curious about that. I used to do face cam streams myself until I decided I didn't want to be the cause of every broken mirror in a 100-mile radius, so I stopped doing that. But
Right.
it's a problem that male streamers don't necessarily have to deal with because a lot of male streamers don't wear makeup,
Right.
and we're not necessarily judged on our appearance in front of a camera when we're streaming. So it's a thing that women have to deal with rather than male streamers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious as to your take on the benefits of either or. So it's an interesting take that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. So you mentioned Iron Mouse earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and she plays a part in this.
Mm-hmm.
You last year, I want to say around summer, fall of last year, you auditioned for VShojo.
Right.
What was the process like? And would you consider ever auditioning for a corporation again, or would you rather stay indie?
So, whenever I was doing that whole process, they basically wanted you to sit and record yourself of being how you normally would act. But I won't lie, I got nervous and I didn't know what to do. So I was just like, telling them who I was, what I do, what kind of talents I had, etc., etc. Uh, but as far as auditioning again, I don't know if I would do it again because you have the factors of like whenever you go into a corporate, they take like your name and majority of your funds and stuff from all that. So I think I would rather be a indie. Unless the
Okay.
opportunity
I know.
arises, I am not opposed to it. But you know, I just feel like an indie would be the best for me right now.
All right. Well, I know a lot of people weigh the pros and cons of indie versus corpo. Corporations have more financial stability, help with marketing and stuff. Uh, Indies have more freedom in what they do, the content
Mm-hmm.
that they create. They don't have management breathing down their neck saying,
Right.
"Okay, you can't do this, can't do this. You can't collaborate with this person." Blah blah blah. A good
Mm-hmm.
example of that is countryman of mine, Doki Bird. She's actually not allowed to collaborate with anyone from Niji Sanji.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a hindrance that can come with being a corporate VTuber, even a former corporate VTuber. There's things that you have to weigh before you decide to take that jump. So still on the VTuber train here, how do you feel about the space of VTubing in general? Like, how do you feel about the health of VTubers? Do you feel it's oversaturated? How do you feel about it?
What do you mean by oversaturated?
Do you feel like there's too many VTubers?
Oh,
VTubing became popular in 2000. There's a lot of them. Do you feel like the it's oversaturated?
no, I don't feel like it's oversaturated. Like I said earlier, I feel like if you are more comfortable being behind a character, I would suggest that because it helps you be yourself at the end of the day. Like you're having fun no matter who's watching you. I mean, yeah, you're going to get some people coming in and like trash you for being a VTuber, but you know what? You're not here to please those people. You're here to please yourself, and that's all that really matters.
Doing something you enjoy, the people that want to actually be there will come to you.
Mhm.
There's a very famous line in a old movie. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. So if you build something that you enjoy, people will find that for you. You don't really necessarily have to look for them. They'll find
Mhm.
you. All
Exactly.
right. So a lot of people say that the most important thing with being a VTuber is your model. Uh, what do you think is most important? How a model looks or the personality behind the model?
Right. So it does not matter how beautiful your model is. If you do not have the personality and the motive and the drive for VTubing, then nobody's going to stay and watch you. I mean, that's just facts. I mean, you got to have some kind of entertainment. I mean, you can be like a beautiful model. Like, don't get me wrong, there is some really gorgeous models out there, but like, you got to have the personality.
Is they work in tandem? The model brings them in, the personality makes them stay. So a lot of people think that the only important thing is having a really good model. They kind of focus all on that and they don't develop the personality. So a lot of people fall into the trap of I spent 2 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand on a beautiful model. Why ain't I getting any traction? That's
Mm-hmm.
not the most important thing. You have to have a personality. You have to have something that people want to watch to kind of keep them around. That's
Mm-hmm.
what you did.
Yep.
Your personality is what keeps all of us here, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that. So let's so this is something that I've personally been curious about for quite a while, ever since I've met you, actually, almost over half a 3/4 of a year now.
Mhm.
Where does your name come from? Like Smitten Kittens 3, what is that? How did that name come about?
Okay, so this originated from like the Xbox 360 days. So, my Xbox 360 name used to be Tiny Kitten. So whenever I
Tiny
got the
Kitten.
new,
You are
yes.
short.
Yeah, so whenever I got the new Xbox One, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my name. I'm not gonna be Tiny Kitten no more. And then I just sat and I started playing with the names, and I was like, you know what? I do kind of like Kitten, so let's see if we can figure out some kind of little thing that'll work with the whole thing. And then I was like, you know what? I could be smitten like a kitten. That's how the name just originated. I was like, you know what? That's lame, but let's go with it.
Still skin. That was mine. There are worse. Comes
Nope.
to VTubers, a lot of oh, something wrong?
I thought your mic cut out for a second.
To VTubers, a lot of them put a lot of thought and effort into their lore. How important do you think lore is to a VTuber, and do you have some of your own?
All right. So whenever I first started VTubing, I didn't have a lore. I still don't even have a lore. I don't really have a lore, and I'm not gonna create one until like I have a model to like come up with one, because I'm not very creative whenever it comes to lore, because I tried. The only thing that I was able to get close to anything was what I wanted to be, and that is a succubus and a fox combined into one, and that's basically why Alan calls me a foxubus. Even though it sounds bad.
And it does. Community was to come up with your own lore. It'd be something like Fox Girl with uh, abusive cinnamon bun fetish with giant forehead, something like that.
Yeah.
Cinnamon buns in the forehead would have to be in there
Oh,
somewhere. I think
yeah.
that's just canon at
And
this point.
and what Lemmy said, oh, and I was always saying, she's calling me lewd. Saying I'm a lewd tuber.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. So something about there'd also have to be something about all everything was for our dogs. That would have to be worked in there somewhere. I don't know where, but that'd be somewhat of a requirement at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much do you know about uh, like the history of VTubing in general? How much do you know about it?
So with that, I don't really know too much of it. I do know that in the past they started like coming up with like these little animated figures and was like posting them on YouTube and making it look like they were realistically, but they wasn't. It was basically like an AI generated thing, but that's as far as I
Okay.
know of it. Uh, Other than that, I don't know nothing.
So VTubing actually gets its takes a lot from Japanese idol culture. Now, idol culture in and of itself has a lot of problems that a lot of people have brought into the VTubing space, such as having to be safe or quote unquote say so, not being allowed to be in relationships and stuff like that, this, that, and the third.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about those kinds of limitations from idol culture being forced into especially Western English speaking VTuber community? Do you
Oh
think it has a
God.
place?
So as far as the relationship stuff goes, that's like their private life. I don't think that should be mixed in with their VTubing stuff. I mean, if they want to tell you about their private life and everything that they're going through, I mean, that's, on them and how they feel about it and if they're comfortable with it. But other than that, I don't feel like anybody should have to be forced to spill the beans on their IRL stuff. If that
I
makes
definitely
sense.
agree with that. It does make sense. And I've always wondered why a lot of the more rabid VTuber watchers are so hung up on forcing what I would call toxic idol culture into a culture that doesn't really afford those things. It's always
Hmm.
been weird to me, but if I agree, if someone wants to divulge that information, it's up to them and they shouldn't be knocked for it. But it's it's slowly changing from what I've seen. That kind of like toxic idol culture is starting to go down a little bit, which is a good thing.
Hmm.
Speaking of that kind of stuff, VTubers and whatnot, you mentioned Iron Mouse earlier a few times. Uh,
Hmm.
Besides Iron Mouse, are there any other VTubers that you watch currently, watched before, or any VTubers that have inspired you to do what you do now?
So the ones that I have watched, and there's one that I still, well, technically there's two that I currently watch because Crucible is one of them. Uh, and then so there's Iron Mouse. There was Shy Lily that I found probably a couple months back because of the Womp Womp stuff. Um, and then there's Rikami. Um, there is what is her name? She's a wolf. There's a couple of them. I just can't name them that I have watched. And there's the one that Lemmy doesn't really like because he, introduced me to that one through Twitter.
Uh, he's mentioned Numi a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Not. I don't know who. Is it Numi?
I think it is. No, no, Numi's one of them, but there's another one. There's another one, but I can't think of her name.
I cannot think of. He's mentioned Numi and he's mentioned someone else. I can't remember who that someone else is. But if Lumi's in there, he will let us know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
This is true.
what advice do you have for up and coming VTubers? What are things that you've learned through the few years that you've been doing this? What advice would you give someone coming up? And what are some things that you would advise them to avoid?
So the things that I could give advice on is do it to have fun. Do not lose sight of your reason for VTubing. Like a lot of these people, they come in here, they're like, oh, we're gonna go and get really popular really quick because we're a VTuber. No, it don't work like that, sadly. Uh, so I would suggest just be yourself, have fun. Try and stay away from a bunch of scammers that come into your chat and are like, "Hey, do you like this art? Do you want to hire me to draw you this and this?" And also don't stay away from the toxic people and don't listen to the people that come in and basically tell you that you're gross for being a VTuber because honestly, like you're not hurting nobody. I mean, if it's hurting them, that's a them problem. Why did they click on your stream to begin with? I mean, they can just easily go away. Like
There's
just
thousands
don't.
of other streamers around. They can click on someone else, right?
Exactly. Just let it roll off your shoulder. It's okay. As long as you're having fun, that's all
Be
that
like a duck.
matters. Mm-hmm.
Be like a duck. Water flow off
Yes.
back into water. So
Mm-hmm.
let's move into away from VTubing a little bit and more into the world of general streaming.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about streaming? Not necessarily VTubing, but the act of streaming. Has
So
streaming gotten better? Has it gotten worse? How do you feel?
So, all right, whenever I first started streaming, I won't lie, it was kind of depressing because I didn't really have very many people to sit and talk to at the time. Um, but after so long, you just kind of get used to it, I guess you could say, and then the people will come in, you'll make friends, and it'll keep going and going and going. And it's gotten a lot better for me now. I mean, I did at one point want to give up because, like, you know, I, I didn't think I was going to get anywhere at all, period. I didn't think anybody would enjoy watching me or want to even begin to talk to me. I was very insecure about my accent and didn't want to be made fun of at all. So I was kind of,
Right?
not really ready for anybody to come in and be like, "Oh, I like your accent. I like your voice. It's very soothing." Those comments are very odd to me because like I was not expecting it. I was expecting to be like, "Oh, you're from Alabama." Yada yada yada. And I was just like, "No." But yeah, that's my take.
All right. So kind of segueing off of what your response there. Uh, has there been things in your stream career you've experienced a lot? Have you ever thought about things that you could do differently with your current knowledge? And to segue off, how do you deal with burnout? Because everyone goes through it, everyone's experienced it. How have you dealt with burnout? And what's your advice for someone to help mitigate that?
All right. So for the burnout, I have been through burnout because I used to stream for like 10, 12 hours every day. Like there was
Dear
no
God, I couldn't do
break.
it.
There was no break, but I enjoyed it. All right. I was having fun whenever I was doing it. And I still have fun streaming. The only thing that I would recommend is maybe limiting yourself so that way you're not going to do burnout as quickly. And always take breaks if you need to, because streaming, even though it it seems easy, it looks easy, it's really very taxing mentally
Mm,
because you're having to
yeah,
prepare and talk to a lot of people all at once, and so you're like overwhelmed sometimes. But that's when you need to like step back and just take a break, relax, breathe, and then if you need like months uh to take a break, I mean that's completely fine too, cuz like I've had to do that. I've literally gone like 7 months before without streaming. And then whenever I first came back, I was like, "Oh boy, what have I done?"
kind of people they're scared to take breaks because a lot of streamers have the mentality of if I take a break, if I stop streaming for even like a week, even half a week, people will forget about me. I'll lose everything I've built. It's not worth it. And that mentality will kind of burn you down mentally until you just have nothing left and you'll quit entirely. So knowing
Mhm.
that the people that support you will be back when you come back, that is a big help. But
Mhm.
going back to the first part of the question, uh, with your experience now, Is there anything that you would do differently when you began, if you had the knowledge you have now?
I don't really necessarily think I would do anything differently. Uh, if I had the choice to do something differently, is not start on a crappy laptop like I did. That was really horrible.
The crappy laptops.
Yeah, like it was really bad. Like I had this little app thing that I would use, and I would use my laptop for the camera and to like work the VTuber model, and that VTuber model was just like lagging all over the place. It looked like it was on its last leg. And
Dear
I would
God.
use the other half to stream from my Xbox so that way you could like hear the alerts, you could see the donations and subbies and blurbs and all that stuff. And I had to pay for it. It went free. But that's the only thing I would do differently, I believe. Other than that, I
Okay.
don't really have any regrets.
About like lagging VTuber models, that just the idea just crossed through my head. Imagine trying to run a VTuber model on something like a Windows 98 on dial 1.2 frames per second. It would be hilarious.
It was really bad.
I
It
would do
was
that.
really
I'd
bad.
pay for that. I would legitimately pay money to see that. That'd be hilarious. So you mentioned earlier, you mentioned when I asked you about VTubers you watched, you mentioned Crucible.
Mhm.
How important to you is networking and doing collabs, and what has your experience been like?
All right. So I don't really have much of an opinion on the networking stuff. But the collabs, I am terrified of. All right. Like, I am scared of people. Like, even though I can sit here and I can speak to chat, and laugh and get along and all this other stuff, but the moment I am with somebody that I do not know, I freak out. Like I go quiet. I like I don't know. I just can't. But that doesn't stop me from wanting to do them. I just get a little awkward. But I would like to do them more often, especially with Crucible, because Crucible, it was a lot of fun and I like playing Dead by Daylight with them. And I would like to play other games. I just gotta get them to play with them.
That is the barrier to entry, getting the games. That is if only games grew on trees. Just imagine if you walk outside to see a new game and say, yeah, I'm just gonna pick that one off the tree.
Yes.
New game just grew. Just grab it. Just
Yes.
just like a growing season for games. Imagine like a new COD just comes out of a tree. Just hey, new COD's drawn. Grab it. So gonna tangentially go back into VTubing just a little bit.
Hmm.
Do you feel that VTubers are treated differently on platforms like YouTube, Twitch? Do you feel that there's a bit of a different treatment between streamers who don't use VTuber models and streamers who do?
I do in a sense because you can have like these VTuber models that are fully like, dressed and they're appropriate and stuff like that. But if you zoom in on the models or anything, you get flagged, you'll get like banned from Twitch for so long, and other people will come by and like if you're a VTuber, they don't want to watch you because you're a VTuber. uh they would also sit and question you whether or not you're actually a guy or if you're using a voice changer. So yeah, VTubers do get treated a lot differently than actual face cam streamers.
Okay. I'd say the quote, you're just a guy with a voice changer, end quote. That one's probably the most common that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
But There's VTubers who openly admit, like, yeah, I'm a guy with a female model.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of that one is someone named Porcelain Maid.
Mm-hmm.
He is a male using a female model, and he's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this one, this is a fun one. I'm going to give you a limit of 4 words. Now, I want you to think about this. Can you describe your community in 4 words?
I had 4 words. Oh Lord.
4 words or it's
Mm.
free.
Let's see. Hmm. Y'all are very questionable. Some of y'all be very questionable. But you guys are very sweet. You're funny. And most of the time quirky. Like most Ians are like I love y'all so much. Like you don't even know. I don't know. I can't really express into how like the words or anything of how much I appreciate everybody here in this community.
Speaking of community, and I believe a few months ago, we kind of, as a community, we kind of rattled on this a little bit. If you wanted to have a name for your community, what would it be?
Oh Lord.
Have you ever thought about that?
I've thought about it, but
So
I
I was
can't
thinking something like
really.
Cinnabros.
Yeah, Cinnabros. Oh my gosh. What
Cinnabros.
about the ladies that are in here? We got Gnome and Noka. We need-
Ladies can be
but
bros too.
they could be bros.
Bros is gender neutral. They can be broettes. Think about it.
The broettes, the Cinnabroettes, and the Cinnabros. Oh my gosh, that's funny. There's
Or the
also
forehead force. That's another one.
that forehead stuff's gonna stick with me
Ginyu
to
force
my
from Dragon
grave.
Ball Z. I'm just imagining all of us, especially like my fellow mods, dressed up as like the Ginyu Force from Dragon Ball Z, but it's just instead of like the star on the uniform, like the Ginyu
Oh
Force
my
has, it's
god.
just a picture of your forehead.
My poor
And we're doing like
forehead.
the weird poses too.
Oh no. Uh oh.
That would be funny. Oh, there she goes. She's running
Yum.
away, everyone. She's running away.
running, running for the hills.
But think about it. If there was a short list of names that you've thought about, if you've thought about them, throw one out. Give us an example of something that you would potentially like as a name for the community.
So I did like the one that I went with for a while. I think it was like the Cinnabons something. I can't really remember exactly what it was called. Oh my gosh. All right, hold on a second. I gotta turn off the seats.
She's ran away, everyone. Scared her
I
off.
am
Oh
back.
no, she's back.
But yeah, I think one of them would have been the Cinnabons. Uh, the I also had thought about like the little fluffy gang or something. Like but that's also cute stuff. I don't know. It's just 2 names I guess that I've thought of so far that are very lame in my opinion compared to Cinnabros.
Nothing. It's lame. Everything is permitted. If you get that reference, we're friends now. By the way, that's you don't have a choice. That's just how it is. Um, so community means a lot to you. That's
Mhm.
incredibly obvious. What is the importance of having a good community for not just like the health of the stream itself, but the health of the streamer producing the content? Like, what does a good community do for a stream?
So if you have a good community, like people coming in and laughing and stuff, it helps the streamer a lot to have a positive mentality throughout the whole entire session. It keeps the streamer going basically. Like it's how can I put it? It's more of like a I wouldn't say like a drug or anything, but it keeps your streamer, motivated and happy and gives them more ideas and creative ideas to do for their whole stream and to, come in and help you guys.
It's definitely a dopamine hit when you see a lot of people in stream, not even just a lot of people, even just a few people in stream,
Mm-hmm.
laughing, joking,
Right.
throwing cinnamon buns at the streamer.
Right.
That's a fun one around here. But
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a dopamine hit. It gives you the motivation to keep going. It's like this is what I'm working for. These are my people, kind of
Right.
thing.
And it can just
So
take one person coming in
this,
and giving
oh, go
you
ahead.
like jokes. And also I do apologize because VRChat
Exactly.
delays big time.
Oh, no worries, no worries. This is new for both of us. I've never done an interview on VRChat before, so it's new for both of us. So this is a question every person I have ever interviewed, ever, I have always asked them one question
Mm-hmm.
without fail. And this is what this is. So I'm going to give you a scenario. You are now the CEO of Twitch,
Oh
24
God.
hours. You can
Mm-hmm.
do anything you want, enact any rule, change any policy. That world is your oyster. What would you change? What rules would you implement? What would you do with that 24 hours?
My first goal, get rid of the Twitch people that you know what I'm talking about. The bathing suits, the hot tubs. Go, get out, please stop.
Well,
The ASMR, please. Some of it is okay, but you don't have to lick your microphone, please. It hurts.
like I
uh,
audibly, it's like not audibly, but I physically cringed when you said licking the ear. I literally like curled up in my chair. I was like, just thinking about it. I was like, "Ah,
Listen, I
no,
have been
none of that.
to a couple of ASMRs and I have so happened to be that person with my headset on and then looking at that person just lick the microphone and I'm just like, oh, my ears, it hurts so much. So yeah, I would take away ASMR or change around the rules to where you can't do stuff like that. Like I don't mind the whispering and like the tapping of stuff and like, other things like that. But I can't do the licking part. Please. No. Stop. And then with the whole hot tub stuff, that stuff just needs to go.
Go ahead.
That's just
Oh, yeah.
wild.
The hot tub thing, I think, is just people bending the rules as far as they can go.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. If you ever, and I mean ever, wanted to get any sort of information from me, strap me to a chair and make me listen to like the ear licking ASMR. I'll tell you anything you need to know. That'd be like waterboarding to me. That's torture. You could use that in Guantanamo Bay. You can get the information out of anyone. I don't care who you are or how hardened you are. That is goddamn torture, and I do not care. That is horrible.
I
That should
agree.
be there should be a like a UN that should be under the Geneva Convention. Like legitimately, that is torture. I couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be too crazy. But moving away from streaming, let's talk about what else you create. Let's talk about music for a little bit.
Oh Lord. Okay.
So, how long have you been actually? Remember when I told you I had some inspiration
Mm-hmm.
a couple days ago?
Yes.
That inspiration is this section right here. But how long have you been singing, and what's your routine for warming up your voice?
Alright, so I have been singing ever since I was a little girl, but I let me put it this way. I love to sing. I love listening to music whenever I was little. But I didn't discover that I could sing on my own until I was about 12 or 13 going into middle school. And then from there on, it's just been something that I've done on and off. There was a time where I just completely quit for a very long time because I had lost all the motivation for it. I didn't enjoy it as much anymore. I was depressed. But other than that, here lately, I've been doing it a lot more because I've been trying to strive for my goal, which is keep telling myself you'll get there one day, slowly but surely you'll get there. And I mean, yeah, the only thing that I do to warm up is I will either like do the little vocal things that you can do, like the vocal practices, or I'll just start singing.
Okay. So you don't do things like singing up the chromatic scale or anything like that?
Just
Just
start
the
singing.
vocal things that you could find like on the internet?
Yep.
Okay. Like I was never the greatest singer, but I also come from a musical background.
Hmm.
I have a hatred for chromatic scales. I never enjoyed them. They're annoying as hell. I wouldn't be able to sing up them. I do not have the voice for that. So I commend your singing ability.
Thank you.
So when it comes to, you do a lot of covers.
Yes.
What is the process that you go through to choose, okay, what song am I going to cover? And what is the process you use for editing?
So, the process of choosing one is I will sit and I will listen to a song. If I'm feeling it, I'll do it. But if I'm not, I'll keep searching and searching. Like I sit here for hours trying to find a cover to do. And then whenever I find one that I'm finally satisfied with, I will go into BandLab, which is free to use on your computer, on your little web browser. You don't have to download anything and go through there and either do it all in one go and then section it, or I will go back and redo the verse over and over until I find the correct one that I want to use. And then I go from there
All
for
right.
editing.
Okay. So us musicians, we all have that one particular thing that we did that has caused us a lot of problems when we were making it. Whether it be something wasn't right with the tone, a pitch was wrong, something like that. What was a piece that you covered that caused you a lot of problems?
I would have to say it would be We Can't Be Friends because there's a part in there where she goes up really high. I can't go really high. So I had to play around with it to fit my voice. Does it sound okay? Maybe. If it doesn't, I don't know. Uh to me it sounded like it was okay. Uh to others, it may sound bad, it may sound good, but I mean, at the end of the day, I tried my best to get, the sound to do whatever it could do.
How many covers have you made so far?
Oh God.
Would you say ballpark?
I would say probably 30, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So
That's just a rough
going back
estimate.
to that is a lot, but going back to say your first couple covers with the experience that you have now with making covers, with editing, with knowing, okay, this is what I like, kind of things. Looking back at your old covers, what would you do differently in terms of would you do anything stylistically? Would you do editing differently? What would you
I
do
would
if you could
I,
remaster those covers?
I would probably re-edit them because some of them are very choppy because those were whenever I first started learning how to edit stuff because I didn't watch no YouTube videos. Uh I don't even think I could find a YouTube video on how to edit certain stuff because it was just being like, here, download this thing to do this with and then download that. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna, slap this on here. It sounds okay-ish. I mean, it's not perfect. I am learning. We're just gonna push this out there, see what happens. That's basically what happened
Throw
whenever
it
I
out into the
first
ether,
started
right?
doing them. Yes, whoever grabs a hold of it, grabs a hold of it. Whoever doesn't, that is okay. We'll try again next time.
So the way that I do editing, well, when I first started was punch the screen until it works. Just press buttons. If it works,
Yes,
good. If it's not, press more buttons.
indeed.
So this is one that I've talked to you about this one in private, but I want to bring this one up here. Have you ever thought about writing an original piece?
I have thought of writing my own song. Uh, I just feel like I'm not very creative for that, but that could also just be me being very harsh on myself. Uh, but I have in the past tried to write stuff, and to me, they just don't sound correct. So I usually trash them, and I just forget about ever trying to write again.
As I said, inspiration comes in the weirdest times, and one day I'll hit you, and you'll make it. So all musicians have inspirations, little things that they pick up from uh, singers they listen to, musicians they listen to, different quirks, different little idiosyncrasies that they have, they kind of work on. Who would you say is your biggest musical influence?
Oh, let's see. So, I think the very first song that influenced me to start singing would be what is it called? It's by Alison Krauss, I think. When you say nothing at all, I think she done a cover of the one person that sung it, but I can't remember what his name was. But that was the very first song that I heard whenever I was little, and I loved it, and it motivated me to keep going to sing.
All right. Well, I only have two more questions for you, and they're easy ones, don't worry. So,
Okay.
where, besides Twitch, where can people find you?
So, besides Twitch, you can obviously find me in the Discord because I'm all the time yapping with you guys. I am on YouTube. I did have a Spotify, but at the moment, I'm currently going through some things with that. So there's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's Blue Sky, which is basically like Twitter. And then there's TikTok. And I'm pretty sure those are the only few things that I've got so far.
Okay. And can you give us a little tease on any projects you have in the works right now? Any covers you might be working on? A little tease about what's coming next for you.
So, right now, as for a cover, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I have been looking for one. One of the songs that I've thought of doing would be Eye of the Tiger because, it's a pretty fun song. It's upbeat. And for streaming, I mean, I stream like, you know, 3 days a week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. EST. Um, I usually will play Dead by Daylight or whatever game I'm really feeling.
All right. And that is everything I have for you. You did well.
Thank
That's all the
you.
questions I got. This
Nice.
has been the inaugural episode of the Foxhole. Thank you, Kitten, for being my first guest, my first VTuber ever, and
Thank
my
you for
first
having me.
VR chat interview ever. Of course, of course. And that's all I got. So thank you.
Thank you.
and have a good one.
All right, guys. Do you all have any questions in chat? Cause y'all have said some stuff. I've read some of it. But other than that, y'all have been very quiet.
I think they're entranced by our discussion.
They were in deep. They're like